In order to fight amongst the best, first one must be a beginner to the series. Hello and good evening everyone, welcome to round number 2 of the TSRC Rookie Series, season number 2, the breeding ground for future talent among the many drivers of the Sim Racing Collective. My name is Kelsey Gill and I have the pleasure of working alongside Mr. Daan Pepels for the first time here on the JP Broadcasting Channel. A very good evening, Dan. How are you?
Good evening, Kelsey. Yeah, get your teeth in. I'm very good. Welcome everyone also in the chat. Welcome everyone who's watching. Yeah, it's great to be back once again. Last week, of course, was a great race. For people who have forgotten, it was Soto on pole position at Braga and then Nicholas in P3, and it's Braga who also won that race. The Lamborghinis were very quick last time round, and I hope that this time we'll maybe see a bit more variety in the manufacturers at the top. It seems like, at least in practice, it was a pretty good mix of the manufacturers.
Yeah, it certainly seems so. I did see a little bit of last week's race, but I'm sure we'll get some mixing up among our rookies this evening. Mr. Kieran Sharp is, of course, on the cams, and he has the great pleasure of showing us all of the action around a circuit that has such prestige among many motorsports. Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps is a fantastic track that is a long, fast place that I absolutely love. This is my favourite circuit to drive, and that is surely something shared among many other drivers and motorsport fans alike. This 7.004 kilometre circuit that is nestled among the Ardennes hosts 20 corners, 11 to the right and 9 to the left, and is a track that requires the driver to really build up a rhythm in order to maximise their times. Words for me don't begin to describe this venue, but Dan, I ask you, sir, can you sum up this fantastic track in mere words?
I don't think that is even possible, to be honest here. I've been here in real life twice for the Spa 24 hours. I've been here for the European Le Mans series, so I've seen LMP2s, I've seen LMP3s, I've seen GTs go up Eau Rouge Raidillon, and it's always fascinating. Even in a 24-hour race, it doesn't matter if it's the first lap or the last lap of a 24-hour race. And I can tell you, at that time, I saw a lot of cars go up Eau Rouge Raidillon. So, but it just stays so fascinating because it's such a quick corner, and you do actually only realize how quick it is when you're there in real life. You can be in the game, you can do whatever you want. You'll never realize how quick it actually is until you're there in real life. Also, what you'll realize is that the Camel Straight is uphill, and it's such a long walk to get from the beginning of Eau Rouge all the way up to the end of the Camel Straight to Les Combes. It's such a tiring walk because then you really feel how uphill it actually is.
Yeah, and then when you're going about 100 plus kph, it is incredibly difficult to even fathom just how long of a circuit this one is, and it's incredibly long track. But anyway, the TSRC Rookie Series is partnered with Track Titan. Now, Track Titan is a tool to help analyse a driver's performance, and this season, TSRC are using Track Titan to help these rookies improve their craft, get more confident behind the wheel of a sim, and perhaps move up to fight among the very best. Drivers are rewarded for their laps completed, so there is so much reason to get as much experience as possible, and I don't think there's a better place really to enjoy racing and enjoy driving these GT3 cars at Heat than Spa. These guys are going to be absolutely on the limits through sectors 1 and 3. It is so fast around there, through Blanchimont and through Eau Rouge and Raidillon and down towards Les Combes, and there's the twisty sector 2 as well. There's Pouhon, there's the Campos chicane, there's Stafford. There's just so many amazing corners around this circuit for the drivers to really sink their teeth into, and prior's coming down to one set of them, the bus stop chicane, of course, the hardest braking point on the track, and I think this is a area of the circuit where the drivers are really going to have to maximise here in qualifying, as Derek Court sets a 2-minute 20 point. Well, I think it was 3, but it's immediately been beaten, and beaten again by Alcelon as a 2-minute 19.8 comes in, Dan.
Alcelon goes to the top on a 2:19.837, like you said. Also, of course, it's so important for the drivers to learn. When you're a rookie, especially then, you don't want to create bad habits. It's what I've been struggling with in the later stages. I've been doing sim racing for 3 years now, and if I would have something like a Track Titan to help me analyze what I'm doing wrong, I wouldn't have been in the amount of trouble that I am in now, because I have so many bad habits that I have to get rid of, and it's so difficult. So the earlier you get a tool like that helps you analyze and see where you're making mistakes, what you're maybe doing wrong, it helps so much in your later stages of your sim racing career, or in the later stage of your Assetto Corsa Competizione career. You don't have to go to other sims. This sim, I love it for the amount of detail you get in GT3 cars. I don't think there's anywhere else where you get such detailed physics and everything in GT3 cars. I do want to touch on one point here real quick, because we do know that Spa-Francorchamps, a quick track, you want to be slippery in a straight line, but you also want to have downforce for that second sector. So which way would you go? Would you go trim everything off and have a little bit of deficit in the second part, or would you go compromise a bit, be a bit slower in the first and second sector, but be absolutely blitzing through the second one?
Oh, it's a tough decision. I mean, most of my experience around this circuit is in Formula One, but the setups are so incredibly important no matter what motorsport you're in around here. And I think as a driver, I think my preference was always to not neglect Sector 2. Sector 2, you can really gain a lot of time on your competitors out there around the track. Like I say, you've got so many corners where you can gain time. If you can be the guy who is going fastest through Pouhon lap after lap after lap, because you've got the downforce and the grip to get yourself around that fast left-hander, then you're going to have that slight advantage. Then you can set yourself up for the Campus Chicane, and then you can set yourself up for Stavelot and a good exit down towards Blanchimont, where good exits are not going to matter. If you've got that slipstream and somebody else the guy behind you got a poor exit, then well, you're going to have the better day if you've got that better exit. And a lot of corners around this circuit do really need that good exit around La Source, especially as they race up towards Al Rouge and Radeon. And I think, you know, maybe that little bit of sacrifice in the first sector and the third sector is really what gets you the time. And the time is tumbling down as Usalon has now found a bit more. He's got 2 tenths away. Braga has taken the top spot on the timing tower at the moment in his Lamborghini, the lone Lamborghini out there fending off the many Porsches and BMWs and Audis and Ferraris. And well, Dan, I guess my next question for you is, if you're one of these drivers out there, what car do you go for? Which one are you leaning towards?
It's difficult, let's put it like that. The Lamborghini, very quick car, but it is difficult to get the hang of. BMW and an Aston Martin, especially the Aston Martin, a very easy car to get the hang of, very forgiving car too. So you can kind of, as a rookie, and we saw that last time round 2, when I think Stuart Pryor went really quick in that Aston Martin, especially in race trim. The Aston Martin, 1 lap pace, struggles a lot, but over a race distance, doesn't matter if it's 12 hours, 24 hours, or just 30 minutes long. It's such a nice and easy car to drive. Ooh, as Bloodshack goes off track, that's not where you want to be, for sure. Stuart Pryor, here he is in the Aston Martin. He was very quick last time too in the race, like I said. If I was a driver, especially a rookie driver like them, which I found myself in just 2 years ago, so I can still remember it like it was yesterday, I would surely go for the Aston Martin, because it's just such a forgiving car, and it's a car that you can learn a lot in.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be what's important around it. You don't want a car that's a bit too squirrely and a bit too, you know, shaky through fast corners and all that. It's just such a overwhelming experience. You want something that's set onto the tarmac, set down, and is really going to get you in. So I suppose the Aston Martin's a good choice. I don't have too much experience with ACC myself, but if I was to go anywhere for a car, I don't know, I've heard the Audi's pretty good, so I reckon I'd jump in that, or perhaps the Mercedes as well. I've always had a bit of a liking for Audi and Mercedes. I won't go into my disliking for Porsche, because I think Zach might chastise me again, but yeah, Audi or perhaps the Mercedes for me personally. As Braga, well, Usalon has found even more time, and the gap is now 0.08 of a second. That has snuck in as we've been waffling on about GT3 cars, but it's certainly a decent chunk of time. Well, I say a chunk of time, it's not really in all things, and Braga's making his way through Blanchimont now as fast as he can, gets out on that outside curb and down towards this braking zone, looking to break in between the 100 and the 150 board at the moment to get that car slowed down over the curbs, not getting onto that red sausage curb if you dare, out wide as well. Here comes the Lamborghini. Can he go even faster in these latter stages of qualifying? He can. It's a 10th gap and it's very close at the top. Nicholas might get himself involved in this as well, so Clody is getting involved too. Now these guys are just under a second in the top 4, and now Karasiak has got himself in there.
You can see everyone just starting to pick up the pace now towards these latter stages of qualifying. Good time there too from Karasiak. top 4, 3 Porsches, 1 Lamborghini. Very much what we saw last time round too, the Lamborghinis. So blitzingly quick in qualifying. When it comes to race pace though, in the hands of Braga, it's a really, really quick car. However, not unbeatable. We saw last time round that it's a very tricky car to drive, so if you do get a couple of off tracks, which we saw last time round, then you can get that drive-through. It's 3 off tracks, and I think after the 3rd one, it is a drive-through penalty. And at Spa-Francorchamps, a drive-through penalty could cost you up to a minute. So if there's one track where you don't want to get that drive-through, it is Spa-Francorchamps. But if there's one track where it's easy to get that drive-through, it's also Spa-Francorchamps. Going up the hill through Eau Rouge Raidillon, so easy to just go a little bit too far over to the left on that left-hander of Raidillon. And well, when that happens, you will pick up that off-track, you will pick up your first one, and after that first one, a lot might follow, and when you do get that drive-through, it will ruin your race.
Yeah, it certainly will, and Eau Rouge and Raidillon is just such a committed corner. You're coming at such high speeds, and you've really got to take the curb really to get the most out of the corner, and it's so easy to do that, so easy just to run that little bit wide as well, and it's easy to do that out of the no-name corner as well. There's just so many little places where if you just run a touch over, you're going to be risking that drive-through penalty, which, as Dan says, is not something you want to get around here. We talk about it being long around Silverstone, but it's even longer around this form of Spa. It's not the Formula One pit exit or pit lane. It is the long one. It's all the way around. You're not coming out until you're about, a good portion onto the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, it's the endurance pit lane, the pit lane that they use during the 24 Hours of Spa. Of course, the official SRO licensed game, of course, Assetto Corsa Competizione. So that's why they use that version. Because when they come to this track, it's for the 24 Hours of Spa. It's bound to happen, I think, in a month's time almost now. So, yeah, looking forward to that, as always. And something that I've always wanted to do was the 24 Hours of Spa. Now, I haven't been successful in some other sims. Neither have I been successful in a 24-hour race here in ACC. I can remember one I did. It was a charity race at Silverstone, and it absolutely bucketed down during all my stints. Everyone was dry or was in at least normal conditions. I was in monsoon weather, which is something I like. There is no sim, I think, that does it as well as ACC with all the weather coming in, and it isn't looking too sunny at the minute. So you might see some rain maybe that might be forecast. Greg Hewlett's here in P18. He's the 2nd quickest BMW. BMW is struggling though around this track, or the 3rd quickest BMW. La Ferla in P8 is the quickest BMW in the number 5. 1.2 off of Braga at the minute, and Nicholas goes even quicker now. 218.297 in the Porsche 69, goes up into provisional pole position. And I don't know where Braga is. Here he is. He's just coming out of Double Gauche. And he's going to have to challenge that time, because I think this is the last lap he's going to get, judging on where he is on the track right now.
Yeah, I'd imagine it is. We've got 40 seconds left in this qualified session. The times are tumbling. Can Braga and his Lamborghini close that 0.7175 gap? I can't speak today. There's so much going on, and it's Belgium, it's Spa. I love this place. But Braga making his way all the way down now towards Pouhon, this Blanchimont. I'm so flustered, Dan. I'm so flustered with this track, but watching this Lamborghini come down towards the bus stop now. Can he get himself on that top step? Provisionally, he's going to just get this right in these final times, and yeah, he's not going to have enough time. We're closing out on qualifying. Not many of the other competitors are out on track. Usilon might be the one to watch as well as we go through, but Braga making his way through the final corner and down towards the line. It's not enough. It's 400ths of a second away from Nicholas's time, and can anybody else get themselves in? I don't think so. Alsalon is out on track, perhaps. There's Hewlett as well. He's making his way through. He's just making his way down towards Brussels now, and he's got a long ways to go to try and get forward, but he'll be looking to climb up the order.
Yeah, Bruxelles, a tricky corner. Off camber, right-hander. Then you go into speaker's corner, no name, however you want to call it. Talking about those names that you were butchering. A lot of corners with different names here. I am closely in contact with someone who knows the track owner of Spa-Francorchamps. He says that this corner is not Pouhon. It's double gauche. That's the official name of this corner, said by someone who owns the track. So I think we can believe that source. We can trust that source. However, it is Oeselen, the only one out on track at the minute. Nicholas has gone back into pit lane. Looked like he was on a quick lap too, but he has aborted that attempt, maybe knowing that it was enough. However, Oeselen might do something different about that. Greg Howland is just behind him. And Oeselen now going into the bus stop chicane. He will cross the finish line in just a minute time. We're looking on with Greg Hewlett, who's now going into Blanchimont. A quick corner two. Just about flat out in these GT3 cars. There we go. Use all the track on the exit too. Through the bus stop chicane. Oeselen has not been able to go up into P1.
Very deep.
Stays in P3, that's indeed very deep. Craig Hewlett, that's going to ruin his attempt. The only driver who can improve is Bloodshot down in P20, who's 8.5 seconds off. He needs to really improve to kind of save himself from a bit of embarrassment here, being so far down the order. However, this rookie series is all about learning, so you can't really embarrass yourself, let's be honest. It's all about learning. Everyone is on his own level, and that's why track sighting is so important to help these drivers improve. Qualifying has come to an end, and the grid is set for the race.
Yes, it is, and it's Nicholas on the top step at the moment. He will be starting at the front alongside Braga, last week's race winner. Then we have Alsalon in P3, and then we have Karasiak in P number 4, then Saklodi, then Werner, and then we've got David Sapel and Gerhard Alkamp in 7 and 8. Then we have Lefurler in P9, and Pryor, it rounds off the top 10 drivers. Then we've got Coleman Evans in 11, Deracourt 12, Schmidt in 13, then we've got Gagansky in 14, then we've got Klosowski in 15, then we've got Nikita Ronin in P number 16, then Craig Hewlett, then we've got Williams, Brown and Blacker rounding off the grid out there. And it's a decent looking grid for us. It's been relatively close between the top 4 drivers or so, only about a second separating them all, and I think this could go anyway. Looks like it's Lamborghini versus 3 Porsches in the top 4 there, and well, this could be quite the fight, Dan.
For sure. No one opting, I think, for the older Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo. Only one driver, Ronin, who's in that car. All the rest in the Ferrari 296, of course, the newer version of that Ferrari. Absolutely love the aggressive look of that car. The people who don't remember, it won the 24 hours of the Nürburgring last time round. But what a spectacle we have in front of us. I call it sometimes the mini Nürburgring. It, of course, doesn't have the Nordschleife aspect of it. The walls are not that close. But this track has everything. Elevation changes, quick corners, slow corners, especially Le Combe, Bruxelles, Malmedy. All those slow corners after each other. Then you've got Speaker's Corner, a very quick off-camber left-hander. And then, of course, double gauche, that double left-hander. That's actually the real translation from French to English. Double left-hander is double gauche in French. So there you go. Some French lessons while we're out here in the Ardennes in Belgium. But no, I'm looking forward to this race. A 20 drivers strong grid. And like we saw last week, these drivers have some amazing racing in petto for us.
Yes, they do. And speaking of these drivers, let's run you through what the standings are at the moment. Well, we've got some time. So Braga's win last week saw him take the lead of the standings at the moment. 36 points for him. Then there's Deracourt with 32 points. Parhello is on 30. Then we've got Karasiak on 28. Stuart Pryor rounds off the top 5 there with 26 points. Laurent Lefurler 25. And then all the way down we go Galgansky, Evans, Williams, Hewlett, David, Alsalon, Ronin, Nicholas, Klosowski, Blacher, Rosie, Brown, Werner, Schmidt, Marancello, Sorrow, Dempsey, Alkamp, Tannehill, Saklodi and Sapel. So all of the 27 there of the drivers, many of those toward the bottom on a lack of points out there. But we're on the formation lap now, Dan, and it's going to be quite the important one, I think. It's a long track. These drivers got to get themselves clued in. How do they do that? How do they get themselves ready for a race around Spa?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure that your tires and everything is up to temperature. Now, how can you do that? You accelerate a bit, you brake again. I don't think brake dragging is allowed, which is an option. You can do it. Don't think it's allowed though by the stewards because it can cause some extensive brake wear, and you never want that really in any ways, because brakes, let's be honest, going down into turn 1 Le Source, if you don't have brakes and you're Blanchard down in P20, you could take out half of the field, and we've not even gone through turn 1 yet. So that is something that we do not want. However, like I said, accelerating, braking again. That's what you can do to kind of warm up your tires from the inside. Swerving left to right, which is something that we will see the drivers do a lot here. It's something that you can do to warm up your tires from the outside. If you can kind of combine those two, I think that's the best way of warming up your tires.
Yes, it certainly is, and getting the car all ready for a circuit like this is going to be absolutely crucial. There's so many corners that need the car to be in that perfect operating window. And let's have a look at how many people we got there with us this evening. There's 7 people watching now, and it's all quiet in the live chat. Let's get some people in there. Why not? Come and say hello, see what's well. Give us some predictions, or to strike up a conversation. We don't bite over here. We're more than welcome for you to jump into the live chat and say hello. As we're on this formation up, and it's, well, an incredibly long one, of course, around here. We're watching Nicholas in car number 69. But what else are these drivers looking for? What's your strategy? If you're Braga or Ursulin or Karasiak or maybe even Nicholas, what are you thinking? What's your going forward for this 30 minutes of racing?
One thing is for sure, Kelsey, is that they have to make at least one pit stop, one mandatory pit stop within a 10-minute pit stop window. So that pit stop window will open 10 minutes into the race and will close with 10 minutes to go. So very easy, from minute 20 to 10 minutes to go in this race. That's when this pit stop window will open. If you do not make that pit stop window and you do not make your pit stop, well, you're in trouble. You're going to pick up a penalty. And I can tell you that is a pretty hefty one around this track and around every track, because the officials don't want you cheating and not making that pit stop. However, making that pit stop, you can go about it in different ways. As when you are leading the way, and we said this last time round, it's almost an unwritten rule. If you're in the lead of the race, you try and stay out as long as possible, because you do not want to pit and throw yourself back into traffic. That is absolutely what you want to avoid. And I don't think, of course, the minimum refuel time is 25 seconds, so your pit stop will be no shorter than that. You will be stationary in your pit stop or in your pit box for at least 25 seconds, so you can change tires. However, I have a feeling that might take you 5 seconds longer. So if you change only the rears or the fronts, there's a lot that you can do, but there's only one man who will know that best, and that's the man that at the end of the 30 minutes will cross the finish line first.
For sure. And well, I think tyres may be the way to go. We've seen it with the big update that we had just a few weeks ago when Zach and I were overseeing the GT3 series. It's run on a Thursday night, but you know, that maybe they'll be taking a leaf out of their books. But we're going to be lining up now. We're not going to go straight into La Source, I believe. We're going to be starting around the next corner where we lined up on the grid. So everybody getting themselves along for this rolling start. Who's going to come out ahead as they go up the hill and down the Camel Straight? Is it Nicholas or perhaps Braga? Is Alsalon going to get himself a good start? Maybe Karasiak, or you know, maybe some absolute miracle's going to happen, and Blarker's going to find himself slingshotted all the way to the front. Only time will tell when we're running our way down to the line, waiting for the green flags to be waved here at Spa-Francorchamps for round number 2. And they're coming all the way down now, waiting for that green flag. Who is going to approach out on top? Is it Porsche? Is it Lamborghini? We are going to see very, very soon. Are we underway yet? No, these green flags aren't waved. I think we're off now, though. There we go. Nicholas gets a decent start and covers off Braga already as they go up. Al Rouge and Radion, and then there's Alsalon. They're all through very clearly. No, off the track goes the other Porsche of Alsalon, and Karasiak's trying to find a way through in his bright white and yellow car at the moment, but it's all clean as they go through Kessel.
22 of Coleman Evans, the only McLaren in this race, has gone off at Rouge Radion. He did not Don't make it further than that, and I don't think there's too much damage to the cars underway. I can see on my track map again the 54 Aston Martin of Brown is trying to make his way around the Porsche of Williams. I think that is the 26, the Ferrari of Schmidt behind him, who he has passed after the start.
Yeah, and it's tussles back here toward the back. The Hewlett's getting involved with Blacker and Lafurla as well as they come through Brussels now, and it's all very close. A little bit of contact, a little bit of paint sharing between the two of them, but it's all clean. They're still on the road at the moment, coming through No Name, and they're still side by side at the moment. Car number 4 leaving just enough space for the car behind to make his way through and down towards Pouan they go in, and surely not a move down here, although we saw some great moves down here in the GT3 series on a Thursday a few weeks ago, but still going side by side, still battling away these two.
Into the chicane they go, and there's contact between the two. Ferrari is forced out to pull out of that move, and well, in the end, I think a move around that corner is always very tricky to make. If you can carry it around the outside of the first part, you're golden for the second part of the Le Fan chicane. However, Nicolas is absolutely bolted at the moment, half a second over Braga behind him, Ousle, and then it's Karasiak. Remember, last time we came through, it was 3 old school racing Porsches in the top 4. This time that's not the case. Braga goes a bit deep. So goes the Porsche of Karasiak. Here is the Porsche of Darren Williams still behind. Ronan ahead of him. Number 15 Porsche of Ferrari, excuse me. Ferrari fans will now be coming after me after I've almost said Porsche to their lovely brand. No, Ferrari ahead of Porsche. Another Ferrari behind that, however. The updated Ferrari at the moment not quicker than the 488.
No, not at all, not just yet. And there's a little scrap going on here as well. Nicholas has really got himself clued in, and what's happened there at the source is a bit of drama. It's at David Sapel we're watching now, having to defend as we're going. We're going to go side by side up our Rouge and Radion. You don't see this all that often. Who's going to back out? And it looks like Sapel backs out as Hewlett finds his way through in his BMW, and that's a decent little move. And I think Sapel's going to lose out to Evans now as well, getting through, and he's going to chase. Sapel, sorry. We're still watching along. Sapel has lost out, and side by side down they go in towards Lacombe. That's Lafurla and Hewlett making some moves at the moment, and the BMW overtakes the other BMW, number 5 and number 4, switching positions. Forcing off the road. There, no, there's contact.
Contact between the Ferrari and the BMW behind. That's probably Sapel and Hewlett who've gone off. The Faria, though, has absolutely bolted from these two now. Took all he could get, and an incredible overtake there. And I don't think you can be too mad about that.
No, not at all. There's a great little scrap, but ended in tears for Hewlett and Sapel there as they were going along. But we're watching now Werner chase after Ciclodi and his Ferrari at the moment, very close, and well, Braga's got some time to catch up. He's 1.1 seconds is the gap at the moment, and he's got Usalan and Karasiak to worry about. And here comes Werner now. The door's open. He's got a better run out of Stavolo too, and he's looking to go around the outside of Blanchimont. Surely not, and he just tucks in behind the Ferrari that he's chasing at the moment, and he's going to look to go in towards bus stop. Perhaps can he brake late? Can he dive up the inside perhaps and get the move done? No, he thinks a bit more sensibly than that. Car number 33 and stays in, but somebody else who doesn't. Car number 62 making his way through and around the outside of the second part of the bus stop and keeps it in at the moment. Gets the better exit through the corner down towards the source, fends off Alcamp and gets himself into P7.
That Lexus from Alcamp, an absolute beast in a straight line. And, well, you will see that in work here now. Going down the Camel Straight up to Eau Rouge Radion. Some cars better through Eau Rouge Radion than the others. It looks like the Lexus today has been struggling a bit. However, he's now well tucked into that slipstream of the Derek Kurt ahead of him. Gets that slipstream, and now you will see that Lexus do its work. Is it close enough to catch up and overtake? I don't think it is. I think Derek Kurt has this one covered off.
Yeah, he does just enough of a gap from the Lexus just behind, and that's just enough to keep him behind as they go through.
No, he's going to go around. He's going to go around. So does the Lexus. They're both off. Their Kurt Alcamp are both off the roads, and that is calamity for the two. That'll be the Porsche, I think, of Williams behind, coming through in the 26-2, and he goes off again. Yeah, hot tires are cooked at the minute, so he has to watch out now. Coming back on track, don't rejoin. Take it sensibly, does so, but calamity there through Les Combes and Malmedy. And well, that's the way to drop down the order for Derek Kurt, being in P7, now all the way down to P17.
Absolute heartache at the exit of Malmedy there, and well, it's just so easily done. It's a part of the track that the tyres come under such load. You're going through those free corners quite aggressively and quite quickly, so it's easy to lose it. And well, these rookies aren't all that clued in with how the cars are, but this is the place to make the mistakes. It doesn't feel great as going wide is Werner through the second Stavolo there at the moment. You don't want to do that too many more times. That can be a dangerous place to go as well. You're going at such high speeds, a dip on the gravel, and well, that's you spinning and going to meet Zach's old friend Barry R. But Werner is looking to chase down, and here's Schmidt as well in the Ferrari in a bit of a train at the moment. There's Ronin and Alkamp ahead, and then there's Schmidt, and he's got Klosowski behind as well. The four of them not really close to it for a fight, but here's Lafurla in his BMW chasing down Brown in the Aston Martin at the moment. I don't think he's going to be close enough for a move into bus stop, but he'll be looking to try and get himself into P14 very deep from the Aston Martin. He's going to switch back underneath him as the Aston Martin goes deep at the second part as well. Poor line through those two corners, and Furlow says thank you very much.
Brown was that in the Aston Martin, who's dropped down a position. Coleman Evans, after that spin at Eau Rouge, I think it was a spin at least, I don't think there was any contact involved with that, has got himself back onto the back of Brown now, so he can fight again. He was quick and qualified in that McLaren. However, that just tells you how tricky that car is to drive. Tricky is this Lexus of Alcam 2, is behind the Ferrari of Ronin now after that spin he had last time round at Les Combes. Going into Les Combes again, surely will look for the move in the Ferrari. Will he dive? He will not. He'll take it sensibly after last lap. He'll be wanting to get some confidence back. The Ferrari, however, goes deep into the first part of Les Combes through Malmedy, gathers himself back up, but the Lexus is going to have a look down the hill.
Yeah, Alcam just trying to scare him, trying to get him offline, trying to make him make a mistake, and he saw that just about worked, and this has invited Schmidt into the fore as well, as these three are going to be fighting through Sector 2. Now through No Name they come. The Lexus trying to make some moves, trying to really get in the mirrors of Ronin ahead at the moment, but he's now got to worry about Schmidt behind him as well. These three are incredibly close, bumper to bumper to bumper, coming through Pouon at the moment, but no moves at the moment. Can the Ferrari get a better run down towards the Campos chicane? Oh, it's a big dive from the Ferrari, and the Lexus saw it coming, and it's always a big slide, and there's some contact, and that sent the Lexus well off the road. I don't think there was too much that could happen about that at all. The Lexus rejoins on the racing line, and there's contact between the two. Oh, that was a mistake, and well, Alcap really had nothing to do with that.
Alcap had nothing to do with that. However, the slide from the Ferrari made it so oversteery, and then when he gathered himself back up, there eventually was contact, and it was, I think, unavoidable once he got into that slide. Now he has the two BMWs of Kalowski and Laverla all over the back of him. It's not been the best last two laps for Alcap. He's been dropping down the order, and well, he might drop some further positions. The BMW of Klosowski, excuse me, is all over him into the bus stop chicane. He's not going to dive. It's a prime opportunity to dive. So does the BMW behind of Laverla. Doesn't make it stick, but unbelievable the fight that has been going on around these position 10s to position 15. It's an incredible race so far.
Yeah, the top three has sort of settled into their own rhythm, and they've opened up their gaps, although Siclodi is looking to make an attack on Karasiak at the front there, and well, he'll be trying to open up that gap, and it looks like Kosowski and Laferla, they're going to go side by side up Al Rouge and Rally on the second time. We've seen this evening, and it looks like Kosowski is going to be the one who comes out ahead up the hill at the moment, but Laferla looks like he got a much better exit on the second part of this corner, and now they're coming down. It's a drag race all the way down to Laycom, and there's a bit of contact between the two of them, but they're giving themselves some room now. Car number 13 and car number 5, who's going to come out in front as they come through Laycom around the outside.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's clipped. He's just driven into Klosowski's line, and well, Oh, it's absolute calamity. And oh, there's the Aston Martin off as well. Oh, it's all going wrong at Lacombe. This is like the action danger area. Oh!
That was a, well, let's be honest, that was the worst rejoin we've seen so far. Adam Brown, what are you doing?
Oh dear. I think the stewards might have something to say about that one, but we'll leave it for that. That wasn't the best rejoin out there in the world, but you know, these rookies, they're still, you know, they're still there making mistakes, and you know, it's only part of the learning experience. But there's the further at the moment. He's the big winner out of all, well, not the big winner out of all this, I suppose. He you know, he caused the calamity, but he's somehow managed to be the driver ahead. We'll wait for these lines. Well, I don't know actually. No, it's behind Hewlett now. It's these timing towers that don't update, but let's stop worrying about that and watch Pryor as he's trying to make some moves now. I think he's battling away with Braga at the moment. Actually, he's trying to defend from Braga, who has got himself through at the bus stop down the inside on the Aston Martin, and that is a place up for him.
Well, the pit stop window has now opened too. It opened about 1.5 minutes ago, and we've seen no pitter so far. There we go. Karajak is into pit lane. He opens the party, the pit lane party, and he's the first one to go down pit road. Now he will lose a lot of time. He will drop for sure. He will even drop behind Blacha in the number 2. That's how much time you're just going to lose here when you do make a pit stop. This is just such a long pit lane that you do lose a lot of time. But, of course, everyone will have that loss of time. So, in the end, he will cycle through back to where he was for sure. However, it's not only Karajak now, it's Coleman Evans, it's Glasowski and Laferla, who've all gone into pit road. There's the number 2. The number 2, I think, of Blacha has also gone into pit lane. No, he's not. Just through the bus stop chicane, he's come. Yes, he is in pit lane. I did see that correctly. So, Blacha now up into the pit lane. So we won't see a representative of if he would have overtaken him, but I'm pretty sure he would. Coming out of Lacombe, of course, that run up the hill, once you do have speed, it's a very tight and twisty exit out of the pit lane. Have to make sure you don't hit any of those concrete blocks on the exit. Very easy to do.
Yeah, it certainly is. And yeah, the Karasiak pulling the trigger on the pit stops then, and I think maybe he's got to. He may have got the strategy right here, Dan. But I'm going to ask you, what would you do in their position when this pit window opens? Do you go for that early stop, or do you go that little bit later and try and go for an overcut?
It all depends on where at that point, like I said earlier on, you are in the race. If you're Nicholas at the front of the field with a 3.8 second lead, no one is worrying you, you're not under any pressure. Ruslan, I would do the same, just wait for Nicholas to pit. Ciclodi, do exactly the same. Just pit it as late as possible, because what you want to avoid, especially when you're at the front of the field, is that you throw yourself back into traffic. So, saying that then, Nicholas has gone in with about 6 minutes to go in this pit stop window, so that all gets thrown out of the window. Klosowski is back out on track again in the 13 BMW. Some damage on the front of that car, but it all depends on where you would be in the race for me. I think Warner is going to be one of the drivers who's going to continue in the number 33. He's just gone past all of those drivers, so Werner up into the lead. Braga is following him through in the Lamborghini, but like I said, depending on where you are in the race, you make your decision. If I would be further at the back, I would take that risk of pitting early. Just get it out of the way and drive your pace.
Yeah, and Braga's looking to make up some places. At the moment, he's down in P3, well, P2 now, as Nicholas has come into the pits as well. So, you know, Werner and Braga, they're yet to pit at the moment, but they're going to have a little bit of a battle. I think it's erupting. That Lamborghini is looking a lot faster and is actually the fastest car out on the circuit at the moment, and is looking to shape up this move as well as the pit stop stages go. There's Alcamp as well. He's back in a bit of a fight. He's got Williams ahead of him. Can he get through? He's going to look to go up the inside of Maldi. It's not quite there for him. Just closing the door is the Porsche up ahead, and he'll have to settle in through the rest of sector 2 and try and find a way past this red and gold Porsche another time.
Well, where can he do that? Because it's so difficult to overtake in his first part. You're not going to throw a move through double gauche. It's just impossible for you to do. If you do it, big kahunas, let's put it like that. The Porsche, however, is not going to make it through double gauche the normal way. He scatters off to the left-hand side onto the grass, manages to somehow keep it out of the barrier. Luckily for Darren Williams, no contact there on the left-hand side, but that is less than ideal. A stop and go for Ciclone. You have to be kidding me.
Oh, it's absolutely... Oh, it's calamity for Ciclone. That's not exactly what he wanted at all. He's out of the pit lane, but he's got to venture back in. That is a long way through the pit lane. Not only does he have to stop in the lane, but he's got to make his way all the way through. That could be more or less a lap. That would be about 1 minute and 30 seconds or so. He's going to plummet down the order like a stone at the moment. But Braga and Pryor now in. Werner has stayed out at the moment. I think Gaganski has stayed out as well. If you've got a green little mark next to your racing number there, then you've done your pit stop. You don't have to come back in. If you've got the little orange number 1, you do have to come back in, and Gaganski has come in, as well as Alcamp as well. So I don't think the rest of the... I think we'll see the rest of the drivers coming in as 3 minutes. I think you get a very hefty penalty if you do miss that pit lane window. So you definitely do not want to do that. We found out how big that penalty was a little while ago in the GT3 series on a Thursday, and I think it's something like 90 seconds or something.
Yeah. Well, depending on how long your pit stop would be, it's it could actually be beneficial with the with the 1 minute pit stop or pit lane time if you just drive through the pit lane. So don't think 90 seconds would be the one, because at this track you would actually gain time. Not making your, 120. There we go.
That sounds better.
2 minutes. Yeah, that's just a full lap that you lose there. So well, that stop and go nearly does the same for Ciclone, and that I can tell you why that is, because I've done it myself too multiple times. That is for speeding in the pit lane. If you just go 2-3 kilometers over, it will give you a stop and go penalty. It's very harsh on that, which I think is good, but all of that is part of a learning process. And I can tell you one thing: next time Ciclone goes into pit lane and he is in a position that he is now, in such a good position, he will check his pit lane speed twice, if not 3 times, before he crosses that wide line. I can tell you that. Braga has come out of this pit stop phase in second still, provisionally. It is Werner who is still at the moment leading the way. We can see him here. I have a feeling he's going to go off into pit lane now. You have to make that pit stop now, because else you will get that 2 minute penalty. And here we go into the pit lane. Stops on the marks. And 50 kilometers an hour only, the pit lane speed here. And you might say only, but when you're actually down in pit lane, that is actually pretty quick. What has happened to Braga? He's dropped far down the order. The 3 Porsches ahead of him now. I think it was that. Well, it was the case before they went into pit lane 2. So it's a Porsche 1, 2, 3 at the minute. However, Werner is going to be somewhere up in the top 6 at least, with how it's shaping up to be. Down the inside goes Braga, has a little bit of a look. Porsche of Karashak fends that off. And it was an audacious move, to say the least, from Braga. And it was something that, well, especially at that corner, would have almost been impossible to overtake from that far back.
Yeah, it was certainly a brave move from Braga to try and dive up the inside of the Campos chicane there, and a little bit wide goes Karasiak. That could be an invitation for the Lamborghini to make a move as they come down towards Blanchimont now, and it's getting very, very close between maybe a dive in towards the bus stop perhaps, and it's all about these mental games in these battles out on track. Can you scare the other driver, get in their head and make them make a mistake, and maybe even just find that little bit of pace in yourself and get the better exit, get the better traction? And I think it looks like Karasiak's gone very deep though. He's probably even spun, he's found himself in the grass, and well, that Porsche has made it very, very easy for Braga to take P number 4 and start working on getting himself back on the podium, chasing after Alcalon now in car number 9. And he's got a lot of time, well, he's got a lot of time to gain on him. He's 4.7 seconds is the gap, and he's only got 9 minutes and 40 seconds to do it.
Well, Siglori not the only one to get a stop and go for speeding in pit lane. It's Brown all the way down in P16, the 54 Aston Martin. Already in the mud with the position where he's in at the minute, and he's going to put himself even further down the order with that, well, 1 minute drive through pit lane and then a 30-second stop. You can count yourself on how long that is going to be. 1.5 minutes of lost time there for Brown. A pretty hefty chunk of time. Of course, down here, these penalties are a lot harsher than they would be at other tracks because pit lane times are so much shorter. However, you know that coming into here, so you maybe take a little bit less risk. The white flag was shown there. That is to indicate that there's a slower car in front of us. However, Klosowski almost joined that slower car going up Ulrus Radi on a big snap for the 13 BMW, and I don't know how he managed to keep that going in the right direction.
Somebody who didn't manage to keep it going in the right direction is Nikita Ronin. He had a similar incident just in the background as well, and he slowed him down significantly. He's lost a place now to Lafurla in the BMW, and that is a scary incident, and that is what Al Rouge and Radion can do. It's such a high-speed section of the circuit. It's such a corner where you've got to be so dedicated, and just one little mistake and that's it. A huge crash. Lucky to keep it out of the barriers, it seems. I don't think there's much damage on that car, but yes, it's a very scary bit, and maybe wanted to come in for an underwear change rather than a pit stop perhaps, but all of the pit stops are now complete and the pit window is closed, so all of that is now done. It's racing all the way to the line. We've got just under 8 minutes left of racing. We're watching car number 5 chase down Klosowski. The two BMWs fighting amongst themselves. We've lost 2 cars in this race so far at the moment, so I think that's one of the BMWs was included in that, but the Furler looking to make a way through, coming through Stavolo 1 now, no way through, looking for a better exit towards Stavolo number 2, and this might set him up well on the run down towards Blanchimont, and maybe a move through there or into the bus stop, who knows, getting in the slipstream, tucking himself in. The gap is 2/10 between the two of them. Can Lafurla make a move on his fellow machined Klosowski at the moment, coming down to the bus stop?
I don't think he can, he's too far away. Brown has now inherited his 30-second stop and go. Did that the first time of asking, and he's now all the way down in P18, the last driving car on track. Like I said, such a hefty penalty. Siglori is now taking his penalty too, but Kelsey, you can hate that little piece of metal with 4 pieces of rubber underneath it from Stuttgart, but I can tell you one thing, it doesn't matter how much you hate it, it is quick. Top 5, Porsche, Lamborghini, Porsche. So, well, they've proven to you now, Kelsey, that it doesn't matter how much you hate them, they're quick. You're not going to do anything about it. It's Karaszak, Werner, Oslin, and Nicholas in the Porsches. However, this is Lafurla on the attack on Klosowski. Had a little bit of a look down into the bus stop chicane, couldn't do it there. Now into Malmedy. I think this is a little bit too far back. It's going to have to do it going down into Brussels.
Yeah, these two really embodying the Beamer spirit there, the Beamer driver spirit of being as close to the driver in front as possible. But they're racing very well as they went down towards Lacombe there, and is it a dive up the inside of No Name? It looked close. There's a bit of damage on that on Lafurla's car there. These two have been in the wars, of course, as they've been battling down the grid at the moment, and through Pouon they go now. A lot of curb from Klosowski, but he manages to make that car as wide as possible, but Lafurla is pushing him through the corner at the moment, and we come down to the campus chicane. Surely a dive there, it looked close, and again contact is made between the two, and he just about keeps it going at the moment as they come through the second part of the Campos chicane, and well, that's lost him some time, and if these two continue to fight, Williams will get himself involved in it as well.
I think it's the 13 that at the moment has been defending for so long already to Lafurla. However, he might now do it. Are they going to go side by side into Bloodstorm? We saw Verstappen do it in 2015, and we see Klosowski, excuse me, now doing it on Laferla. However, Laferla's gone through. That is now allowed Williams, the Porsche number 26 behind, to get closer to this battle as well. And he is now going to have a shot at Klosowski too. But what a fight and what an overtake from Laferla. I think the 2022 or the 2021 24 hours of Spa-Francorchamps was decided by an overtake from the Ferrari, the Iron Links Ferrari at Blanchimont. So he did it too. The Audi up the inside of the Ferrari. Talking about the Ferrari, he's going to fend that off though, going into Lecomte. However, it goes a bit deep. The Audi gets the cut back. Not enough though.
No, not enough, and that was a good little look, but he just pulled out the Gigantski and tried to at least go for the offline Schmidt in front of him, but it didn't go, and he's broke very, very deep there and had to maybe take some avoiding action coming into Brussels. Looks to the inside and no name, no way through for the lone Audi out there on the circuit, but trying his best is he. And, well, it looks like Laferla's dropped Klosowski now, and he's got to fend off Williams that little bit further back. We've not had too many battles toward the front of the grid, but the midfield has been absolutely action-packed. We've had some fantastic battles throughout the 30 minutes of racing here at Spa at the moment, and it's a shame that we've only got 3 minutes or so left of the racing action, but Gigantski is certainly putting on a bit of a show and a little snap of oversteer there.
Gigantski, what a drive it has been for him so far. An absolutely masterclass in that Audi. That Audi is so tricky to drive. As I remember earlier on in this broadcast where you said that you would love to go in the Audi. I can tell you one thing: drive the Audi once, and you'll be reverting back to whatever you were driving before. It's such a loose car, such a difficult car to drive. However, if you do get the hang of it, indeed, a very, very quick car. Such like the, or much like the Lamborghini at the front of the field in the hands of Braga. We are now on the second to last lap for these drivers. Next time, well, Nicholas will be coming around. He's now making his way, I think, down into Lecomte. But next time he will come round, he will start the final lap of the race.
Yeah, Schmidt was very committed there, very defensive through La Source. Maybe that's cost him some time, and it is. And,
no way.
Well, Gigantski's going to go for it up the inside into Richard Radion, and he gets it done before they get into the meat of the corner at the moment. And the Audi is through. That's Simon Gigantski into P number 7, and Schmidt compromised his run down there from La Source. He took too much curb, went too defensive, and now we've got more action going on. That's Pryor. He's trying to get his way past Werner at the moment in his Porsche. As they come through Brussels, he had to back out as they went into the corner, but he's all over the back of car number 33 as they come through No Name.
Where is the 63 of Pryor? The Aston Martin gonna make that move. He's been on the back of him, let's be honest, for so long now, and he just wants to get his way past to also just push. Like I said early on, look where the Aston Martin has come from. He's been so quick in race trim. Quali a little bit more difficult this time round, once again, for the Aston Martin. But it's such a quick and consistent car in race trim. It just doesn't have any drop-off in the tires. How far you get into your stint, it doesn't matter. Such a consistent car, and he's showing again that that car has some proper speed in it. However, it has dropped back now a bit, and I think he might well be lining up a move into the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, maybe, and let's see if he can do that. I'm just wondering where Nicholas is out on the track at the moment. We're cutting it fine now. There he is coming through La Source, so I think this is going to be the final lap, I believe, as we're out on the circuit now. So the last tour of Spa at the moment, as Nicholas has done a great job. He's really commanded this race from the beginning, but look, Braga's found himself in amongst the heat of the podium at the moment, and he's only 3/10 from Alcelin as well. Can he get himself past in these dying stages? We'll wait and see. Can Schmidt get Gigantski at the moment? There's all these battles going on, but here's Braga coming down the Kimmel Straight now, and he's going to pull to the outside, and they're going to go for a drag race all the way down to Lecomte. Now it's the Lamborghini versus the Porsche. It's 48 versus number 9 as they go down. It's the outside line for Braga. Who's going to break later between the two of them. Is there going to be any contact as they go through? No. Alcelin keeps in and Braga looks for a way through. He's trying to cut through the second part of the corner, trying to go back to the outside as they come through Malmedy at the moment and gets a much better exit as they go down towards Brussels. Covers off is Alcelin. He's going to go around the outside and it's off camber corner. They're side by side. Surely not. They're going to go through here at the Porsche just fends off Braga at the moment, and there's still no way through as Alcelin makes that car as wide as he possibly can.
Well, what a drive so far from Alcelin. The last lap, he's really become under pressure. That gap about 2 laps ago was 3.5 seconds, a bit of a slide from the Porsche, and that is what eventually allows Braga through. Uslen was defending stoutly, but that in the end is broken his defense. It was a little bit of a slide going through double gauche. Easily done, a little bit too much on the entry to the double left-hander. And well, in the end, it is Uslen who has to back out of that one. Braga gets through into P2, but this man, Nicolas, Pierron Nicolas, what a drive from the Frenchman.
Yeah, it is. It's been a long 30 minutes around Spa-Francorchamps, and he's coming down towards bus stop for the final time. Pierre-Anne Nicolas in the Porsche car number 69, making his way through now to come and take the checkered flag. Is it here at La Source or is it around the corner? No, it's right here. It's Nicolas in P1. He wins round number 2 of the TSRC Rookie Season 2. And we got Braga and Alcelin coming down just now. Here they come out of bus stop and across the line. That's going to be your podium, Braga and Alcelin. Great race from these two. Braga made a great little overtake after the mistake from Alcelin, and here comes Pryor as well. Can he get ahead of Werner across the line? I don't think he can. Karasiak's across the line. There's Werner and Pryor as well, making their way across the round off the top 6, and we just wait for the rest of the drivers. Oh, there's been a big incident here. Who's this? Is that Williams? I think that's Klasowski.
Yeah, Klasowski and Williams. This is on the entry, I think, to Le Fun, the chicane, and then into Campos they go now. But there's surely been contact between those two. The Ferrari behind that now is trying to get onto the back of them too. I have a feeling, however, that it's going to stay like it was. All cars back up to speed. The Ferrari, however, got a great drive.
Self up in place at these dark stages of the race. Who knows? Let's see as they come along through. Lefebvre has crossed the line now. The top 10 are all finished. Klasowski, he's safe at the moment, but it's Ronin and Williams. That's where our eyes are at the moment, coming down towards bus stop. But I don't think the Ferrari's close enough. But does he send it under braking? No, he doesn't. He really doesn't have any sort of gap to go through. It's this last corner here. Is there any improvement? No, not quite. So they're all going to come across the line as they were. We're just waiting for Dericourt and Blatcher to come across the line now. As there's Dericourt. Where is he on the track? He's just come out of Stavelo 2.
Well, what an amazing race. I mean, it had everything. Fights all the way through. And some crashes, especially a spectacular one from the McLaren at the beginning of the McLaren of Coleman Evans. But what a drive to get that car all the way down on P20 on the first lap, back up to P7. An incredible drive from Evans. And I mean, can't really tell much about that. He had a very normal, timid race. Didn't really see a lot of him. Every pass he made was either 2-3 corners and he was gone.
Yeah, it was really a great little drive and a great race from everybody, and that's it. Everybody's now crossed the line. Let us run through the order as they finished here at Spa-Francorchamps. For round number 2 is Pierre-Anne Nicolas then, who finishes on the top step of the podium, and he's going to be flanked by Braga and Uslen in the Lamborghini and the Porsche. Then Karasiak comes home in P4. Werner rounds off your top 5. Then we've got Pryor in car number 6 with P number 6. Gagansky comes home in 7. Then we've got Schmidt, Coleman Evans and Lefebvre rounding off the top 10. Klasowski home in P11. Williams and Ronin close together, but home in P12 and 13. Then we've got Dericourt, Blatcher, Ciclodi, Brown and Alcamp. Well, and Brown rounds off your finishers with Alcamp, Hewlett and Sapel not finishing the race. But Dan, we've had a great little race here among the rookies at Spa, and it's been a pleasure to jump on alongside you.
For sure. However, we are just 2 rounds into this championship, 5 rounds in total. Next time out, we'll be at Watkins Glen for
Oof.
round number 3. After that, we'll go to Brands Hatch. And then we'll go to Barcelona to round it all up. And what a track to round it up at. A track that has absolutely everything, just like this track, Spa of Francorchamps. An amazing race we've seen. And, well, an amazing drive. I have to say, you can't deny the fact that, well, in the McLaren, Coleman has done everything right. There's nothing that he could have done differently to give him a better position. Had that crash at the beginning of the race, came back from it. What a drive.
Yeah, what a drive indeed. And a great drive from all of the rookies out there, really adding to the laps tallied on track Titan, and that'll be helping them as they continue to progress throughout the season. But that's it everyone, all the racing's over here for the TSRC Rookie Series, but there's plenty more racing to be found on the JP Broadcasting channel, so please do go over there and see what you like. If you want F1, we've got some F1. If we've got want more GT3, we've got plenty of that. How about NASCAR? We got NASCAR, you want that too. There's plenty to find and tickle your fancy here for racing. And please do make sure you've liked the stream and subscribe to the channel if you're new here as well. And a big thank you to everybody watching along. Big thank you to Kieran Sharp behind the cameras, and a big thank you of course to Daan Pepels, who I've joined in the comms box this evening. But that's going to do it for us here. So from myself, Daan Pepels, and Kieran Sharp, it is a very, very warm good night.